Welcome to Patriarchy.com, where we help you become a more virtuous leader for your family. I'm Knowland, and on this channel, Daily Patriarchy, I answer all your questions in the comments in video form every day. I also document our progress towards strengthening society by rebuilding the patriarchy one family at a time. Thanks to your support, this new channel is up to 560 subscribers, 12 videos in. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this content with anybody who you think might like to improve their marriage. If you're serious, you can also join our intense marriage coaching community for elite Christian men. You can see here we're up to 100 members. It's great value at $297 a month, around the price of just an hour of marriage counseling or therapy, but you get 24/7 support. So if you're serious, head over there. And also on my main channel, Knowland, a Be Her Leader. We're up to 18.1k subs now. You'll find long-form content to help you with whatever area of your marriage you'd like to improve. On to today's comments then. So I'll scroll down to the bottom to make sure I don't miss any, and then we'll work our way back up to the top. Ethan Sevilla, 1395, says, Tradcons, shake hands with feminists over the idea that we do more for women without any in return. This is pretty interesting. So what you're really suggesting here is your model of men interacting with women is tit for tat. And what you're saying there is it's about equality. You resent the idea that the man should be doing more. Well, ironically, you are actually the feminist here, because feminism is all about equality. On the Catholic traditional view of things that I represent, men are supposed to be doing more because the sexes aren't equal in the way you are framing things here. So the man has the duty to be the protector and the provider. The woman doesn't. And what that means is that the man should be bringing in more money, for example. He should be leading in the marriage. Ultimately, everything is his responsibility. A man who has a tit-for-tat model of marriage, where he's keeping score the whole time and making sure that he never goes beyond what his wife is doing, he's actually emasculating himself. That's no way for a man to live. And you can look at the secular research on what makes marriages work well and what doesn't. And you can see that a tit-for-tat mentality is one of the things that damages a relationship, damages a marriage. And a man, the same research shows, is the decisive factor in the marriage. So you can tell from this that when the man has a tit-for-tat mentality, that's one of the most damaging things you can have in a marriage. Gregory Walsh asks, what does the daily rosary look like in your family? Is the whole family together, or do you focus on praying with your wife and the older children? Well, the way you've asked that question, the daily rosary, suggests to me that you think that is a thing, like it's an obligation that any Catholic household must have the daily rosary. But that's not true. So it's not one of those things that everybody has to do. Are you asking whether we as a family pray the rosary every day on the assumption that if we do it, it's right for you? There's a few different levels to this question. Now, first of all, it's not a rule, as I said. It's a good idea. Next thing is you're assuming that whatever I do with my family is going to be right for you, and that's not necessarily the case. So what I would suggest is that you look into what you can realistically manage with your situation, with your kids, their ages, their temperaments, attention levels, all the rest of it. In general, what you want with a prayer routine is something that you can stick to consistently. And then also, while you're actually doing it, you can concentrate fully. Once you've got that, then yeah, you can build from there. But there's no rule saying that everybody must pray the daily rosary. Now, I happen to like it and I recommend it, but that doesn't make it a rule. Anastasia in Cleveland says when wives do tell husbands what is needed, they don't listen. They call it nagging and complain to other men about their lousy wife with the bad attitude who won't shut up. Then one day she goes quiet. The husband is happy that she is no longer nagging him. A few months later, he comes home from work and she has moved out with the kids and the furniture. After a few days, he is served with divorce papers. He tells everyone that he is blindsided because he thought everything was fine. Food for thought, gentlemen. That is a really smart comment. If you look at the stats, when men get divorced, most often they say that they didn't know where it came from. If you ask the women, they will tend to talk about years of emotional disconnection. And it normally takes a guy about 6 years of being in a bad marriage before he asks for help. I see it all the time. So if you're struggling, get help earlier. And nagging normally is due to an unmet need of some sort. So the nagging is a symptom that the communication isn't strong, and underlying that, the emotional connection is weak as well. Now, if men learn to listen non-defensively to nagging and find the grain of truth in even unjust criticism, then they can find some really important information there to improve their marriages with. The trouble is that for a guy who is a bit insecure or has a bad temper, really struggles with meekness, nagging feels like an attack to him. He fixates on the literal words rather than focusing on the feelings being expressed. So he wants the nagging to stop just for peace and quiet because he finds it emotionally difficult to handle. Much more sensible to actually lay himself open, lay himself bare to whatever the nagging is attacking as a problem, rather than getting defensive about himself as a person. You can listen to complaints and you can ask questions to find out what's really going on. That's far better than you wanting the nagging to stop totally, because all that good information that you could learn from it, you're not going to get. And then you might end up in this situation. Now, look, divorce is always wrong. I'm Catholic. Obviously, I'm going to say that. Divorce is always wrong. However, you got to understand that when you are introducing emotional disconnection, when the communication isn't strong, then that's going nowhere good. Often it does tend towards separation and obviously divorce as well. All right, so that's all the questions from the comment section on YouTube. If you've got anything about those topics that you'd like to ask, drop it in the comments now and I'll get to it tomorrow. Now, I'd also like to share a few questions that have been asked inside our Patriarchy.com support community. This is only $9 a month and it gives you a place where you can connect with like-minded men to grow in virtue as a leader. First one, my wife and I have been married for 1 month and she is struggling to reach climax, leading to her feeling frustrated. Is this something that she has to figure out on her own? How can I lead in this situation? Apologize in advance if this question is not appropriate for your channel. No need to apologize. Of course it's appropriate for this channel. The main natural purpose of marriage is procreation. So things to do with sex are obviously vital for that. So this is exactly the right channel to ask this question. Now, if you were both virgins before marriage and you two have only been having sex for a month now, this could just be a matter of getting to know her and what she likes, and also just becoming more competent. So think of it as being like figure skating, right? The longer you're with the same partner, the better you get to know her, the better the moves get, and the more skilled you are as figure skaters. Now, the same thing goes with sex too. So part of this is just going to be patience. From the way that you have phrased this, though, I can tell that you are also getting frustrated. It's not just her, it's you too. Now, when you are frustrated, you as the leader are going to be setting the tone. So try to relax and help her to relax as well. No, she shouldn't have to figure it out on her own. you should be talking to her about it. Communication and openness is always going to be a good thing. And you can lead in this situation by being attentive and also asking her questions to be able to help her explore what she enjoys best. I would guess that you probably haven't spent enough time on foreplay, right? I don't mean just physically, I mean emotionally as well. So sex starts long before the bedroom. She isn't a man. She's not going to get aroused like a light switch turning on. So make sure that you were giving her the psychological, the emotional foreplay throughout the day and even the days before, so that she's feeling the anticipation and the excitement for when you have sex. And then physically with foreplay as well, the aim should be to get her to climax before penetration. A lot of guys make the mistake of thinking that sex is just penetration. It's not. It's connection, okay? So it starts outside the bedroom, and then with foreplay, really make a point of showing her that you are enjoying her body and help her to relax in that situation. That's going to be key to lowering the anxiety levels. So talk to her about what she enjoys. Don't be afraid, anybody watching this, to ask questions like that. If people have got a problem with it and they want to giggle like little schoolboys, if we're talking about arousal and sex and vaginas, then this isn't the channel for them. This is a men's channel. Any more questions like that, keep them coming in. Super important. If you get that area of your marriage wrong, it can lead to a lot of strain and unnecessary stress. So obviously, we want to do everything we can to help people in this situation. Next question. We got a guy who's worried that repair is going to be a long road. Says it's tempting to get discouraged along the way. There's an inevitable hope for more sex, more warmth. And when it gets rejected, it can be easy to slip into a pity party, wondering if it will just be one-sided forever. How to handle these bumps would be great, both actively in the moment when it occurs, and also mentally in terms of the bigger picture of repair. Well, I think two things here are going to really help you. The first one is that you're not changing for her. You don't want a reward from her. You're changing for you. It's good for you as a man to fix yourself. It's good for you as a man to become more virtuous. It's good for you as a man to become a better leader, to be more confident, more competent. So that's your first reframe. Think of a guy who just wants to get on top of his personal finances, for example, in the hope of getting a kiss from his wife. Can you see the problem with that? He should be doing it because it's the right thing to do for himself. Or a guy who's going to the gym because deep down he's imagined that if he does this, then his wife will be kinder to him. No, it's just good for you. It's good to honor yourself. It's self-respect to go to the gym. So really catch yourself when you're making these little imaginary assumptions, or what are called covert contracts, where you're just doing something in the expectation of a reward from her. It's not the right way to look at it. You become that more virtuous man. You become, in other words, more masculine, and then you'll get what you want from her anyway, but as a bonus, right? As a side effect. But don't have it as the goal, because that's actually not masculine. That's weak. Now, the second point about handling these bumps, you might not like to hear, but it's true, and truth often hurts before it heals. Blame yourself, okay? When you are in one of these situations and you can see that she isn't giving you what you want, blame yourself. How did you lead the way into this? You as the man have always been leading. For some guys, it's that they are leading in the way they disrespect themselves. Then the woman taking their lead disrespects them too. So don't see yourself as a helpless victim. Instead, see all the suffering that you're currently going through as something that you deserve, and also the thing that you need to experience to actually transform yourself. That's the best way to look at it. So this is your opportunity to face where things have gone wrong, learn from the mistakes, and actually move forward and change it. Now, if you can shift towards having a mental attitude of gratitude in this situation, that's actually the best possible response. Thank God for it. Thank God for the opportunity to learn and grow from it. Next question. I'm working to move my marriage from feminist to patriarchal. My wife isn't a Christian. Our progress seems conditional, based on how well I lead moment to moment, not on shared conviction. How can she and I build a foundation of leadership and submission that goes deeper than momentary circumstances, so this isn't just a constant test of opinions, wills, and outcomes? Well, first of all, remember that patriarchy is reality. Grace builds on nature. And what I mean by that is that you are working with the grain of the structure of men and women and how they are supposed to relate to each other. There's no civilization in the history of humanity that hasn't been a patriarchy. It's universal, history-wide. So there have been plenty of non-Christian patriarchies, obviously. So think of it basically as you just trying to live in reality rather than in feminist fantasy. Now, patriarchy is universal because it's at least partly rooted in female biology and psychology. This is what women want from men. And you sound like you need to have some conversations with your wife about what this is all about. So you want her to feel safer around you, more secure around you. You want her to feel that you are the protector, you are the provider. You both want a better marriage. So when you're having your discussions, start on what you agree on, okay? Think of it like A, B, and C. So agreement, build on that, then communicate more deeply what that means to the both of you so that you can get aligned and actually get what you want together so it's a win-win. She, from the way you've asked this question, sounds like she's afraid of the idea of patriarchy. She's got some sort of misconception about it, and you haven't really communicated to her the benefit of what you are doing for the whole family. So masculinity and clarity go together. You need to be clear about who you are and what you stand for, and you need to communicate that clearly to her as well. Now, if you find that difficult, you don't know how to have a conversation, or she's coming up with objections that you don't know how to overcome, then we're into a coaching situation there so we can guide you through it. So keep me updated with how that progresses. Now, I want to share as well, just for people who don't believe that actually changing the marriages for the better is possible. We see results like this all the time. So this guy says, progress is excellent. I'm getting very close to achieving my goal of being in the best shape of my life before turning 40. My relationship with my wife is also doing the best ever, and I've been enjoying much better sex with her because of that. This is a guy who has taken to heart what I've said about emotional connection being the true basis for physical connection. He has also taken to heart the fact that respect in his marriage really starts with self-respect. Now, I doubt his wife cares about what he's lifting in the gym, right? She doesn't want to know the numbers, the sets, the reps. What she's really responding there to, apart from the physical changes, will actually just be the energy of the man when she sees that he is actually focused, motivated, determined. That's what women like to see. So they don't want a man who's in his own way. They want a man they can actually get behind and trust. And this is how it's done. We see this all the time. So if you've enjoyed today's content, then head over to patriarchy.com/start, and You can join this thriving group. We've got 268 guys in it at the moment. It's only $9 a month. If you want to learn about how to lead without using words, how to navigate arguments, how to uphold boundaries, how to protect and provide emotionally, how to permanently break out of bad habits, how to make her fun and flirty again, how to lead financially, how to get her in shape, then this is the group for you. If you've got any questions about any of that, drop it in the comments here on YouTube, and I'll help introduce you to our approach in the next video. And inside this community is very different from just social media because you get calls with me to help keep you accountable. You also get courses you can work through to improve your weaknesses and benefit your marriage. And you get to meet and connect with other guys who are like-minded and focus on the same goals as you. So that's all positive peer pressure and networking. 24/7 support makes it very powerful. We don't want guys feeling they're alone. It can be difficult in the modern world to find people who actually have good, strong, solid values to help strengthen you. So that's what we want to provide. Any questions on any material today at all, or anything troubling you, things you haven't been able to find a good solution for, drop it into the comments and I'll talk you through how I would approach it tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Take care.